What is good, YouTube? It's Aaron back here with the channel, and today we're going to be doing the Competitive Edge Episode 2. First, before we get started, I want to shout out my coaching. This is my Metafy page, and if you want to get involved, I would love to be a part of your training journey. I have been doing coaching for a couple of years now, working with a DT and some local friends and some guys that have hit me up, and it's something I really enjoy doing. I'm passionate about it, and the video today is going to be one of the things that I help people do whenever they're preparing for an event. So this is going to be a bit of a show and tell of what I do behind the scenes, and if it's something you're interested in, please hit me up. You can do it on Discord or on Metafy, and we'll make it work. So, first things first, we're going to be doing over siding patterns. First things first, why does siding matter and how important is it? So most games in a match are siding. So at a minimum 50% if you were doing just like a best of 3 and you win game 1 and game 2. But in general, it's going to be a majority of your matches. It's going to be 2 out of the 3 games are going to be sided. So you want to be as efficient as possible in taking out cards like Fualos and putting in the cards that are better, and then just min-maxing your non-engine. So if a card like Valor isn't as strong in a matchup, then you want to take it out for a card like Pankratops, just small examples like that. So we want to be able to maximize all this, and this is also something you can do before a tournament starts. You can prepare all of this beforehand. You can put as much prep in as possible for as many different matchups. You're never going to make it perfect for everything, but you're going to be able to optimize it as much as possible. So this is why I value deck building and side decking so much, is because this is the one thing that you can control in a tournament. You can go into a tournament prepared, and maybe you were wrong in some of your assumptions, but at least you did the work beforehand. You did all testing, and you are hopefully confident in your decision making before the event. And then obviously if something goes wrong, you're able to fix the process and improve moving forward. But yes, so that is why side decking is so important. And we are going to utilize my list from Anaheim to do it. So this is my Dracotail list. We've gone over it in the video with Striff, so I'm not going to do anything special in that. I don't think this is a perfect list. I would definitely make changes moving forward, but this is just how we're going to utilize the video. We're going to use the list, which I think is a pretty normal just Dracotail list from 2 weeks ago. So for YCS Anaheim, which is the event that this was used for, I think there are 4 primary decks that you were kind of anticipating if you wanted to do well. And there's obviously more, there's like more fringe decks, like we saw the Ryzel deck perform well, we saw the Crystron deck, but we're going to do like the 4, I think, pretty obvious decks of the format, which was Dracotail Pure, we got Yummy, Mitsu, and then Yummy Mitsu. Dracotail being branded, just like all the variants I think are pretty similar, so we're just going to say Dracotail as a whole. The questions when it comes to siding, first things first, what comes out? So we're going to look at our list of cards, and then we're going to decide what are the cards that we kind of have to take out. So going first, we're always taking out Fualos, Crossout being the exception, but in general, we're always taking out Fualos. If we're playing more Chummies, we'll take all of those out, stuff like that. If we're playing against Malice, we want to take out Droll, just examples. And then going second, are we going to leave in 3 trap cards in our deck? Probably not. Are we going to, if we have like main deck barrier for whatever reason, that's a card that's going to come out going second. So stuff like that. And then we're going to replace those cards. And then we're going to look at the rest of our stuff. So is a card like Valor optimal against Mitsurugi? Maybe, maybe not. Do we have some better options to go in instead of it? So these are the questions that we're going to ask ourselves as we go through this process. I already did all of this myself on the side, so I'm going to cut and paste it and go over it as we kind of discuss this. Alrighty, so we're going to get right into the Dracotail mirror match. And first things first, we look at the cards that we want to take out, right? So first, we're going to take out Fualos. I think that's a pretty obvious card we want to take out. And then we're going to skim the rest of our deck. Magma is a card that I also think doesn't perform too well in Dracotail mirror match. So we've got these 4. We're going to look at the cards that we have coming in for those. So Cartesia was my generic going first card along with Prosperity. And then we've got a 4th card, and Crossout is fantastic in mirror matches, right? So this is how we do the first 4. So we can start with that. And then we can look additionally, like, are there cards that I don't think are fantastic in the mirror match? I think Nibiru is like, okay, not great. So this is a card where I'd be like, okay, let's see, what do I have better for the Nibiru? We've got a Valor. And then if I was theoretically setting more Valor, we could make that adjustment. In my siding patterns, I was kind of content with having 2 Nibs for going first, because it's really hard for them to kill you through Nibiru if you open it. And then if worst case scenario is a monster in your hand or is off the line. So I was pretty content with this siding pattern. Maybe not perfect. Maybe people are playing Fenrir over Pankratops, so it would have been a little better. But I was kind of content with how this ended up looking. So this is what I went with for the tournament. So we have this. Let me find it. So 2 Cartesia, 1 Valor in, and the 2 going first spells, and then Magfua and Nib out. And now we're going to go to going second in the mirror match. So we've got cards that I think aren't fantastic. I think Nibiru is not great. I think Magma is an inconsistent card in the mirror match. And then I usually take out 1 trap. I'm not too particular. I generally take out Horn, just because it's the easiest one to play around. There's some matchups where, like a Link deck, like maybe Malice, you would take out Sting instead of Horn. So I'll say I'll take out 1 Dracotail trap. It is up to you to decide which one you would do. In general, for me, it's Horn. And then I would take out the Cartesia. And going in for that, I have 3 Pankratops, the Valor, Bell, and Crossout. Because Crossout works on the traps going second, and then obviously cards like 5 mana. So that is how I did it. We're going to do that. And that. So we're going to do this for a few different more. I'll go a little bit quicker now that we have an example of it. But yeah, that's the process that I do for all of this. And for a format like Nationals, where the format is really diverse, or even a format like this where there's a lot of different decks, you can be really thorough. You can do as many as like 8 to 10 different decks. But I think being able to prioritize the most important decks is what matters the most. And then having that flexibility to be able to make some adjustments. So my deck was pretty hand trap oriented. And then just like I have cards that aren't all 3-ofs. So if you look at my siding patterns, like you'll see some side decks that are just like 5 3-ofs in their side. So that is good for like efficiencies purposes. But when you look at the main deck, like there's 2 Bell and 2 Veiler. So if there's spots where I need to take out Bell and Veiler, and I'm going to have like 1 dead card in a matchup as a result. So I think just doing this process and being very particular with what cards you're siding is going to make your tournament more efficient. So let us get into the next one. So Yoshimitsu. For that, going first, I took out Fua, 2 Veiler, and the Mag. I think it's not bad in the matchup. But going first, I think I just prioritize having the other cards that I'm going to be putting in, which is going to be Droll Lockbird, Artesia, and I think it was Prosperity. Yes. So that is the going first and going second for this matchup. You could also... Oh, we have Nib in already. I take it back. So that is in. So 6 in, 6 out. So you can also... If you are going through the process of all of this, of doing this yourself, I have this on my other sheet that I'm copy-pasting from. So I have 6 in, 6 out. So if you're doing this for yourself, being able to be like, okay, I have 6 in, 6 out for this specific matchup may also be a little easier for you to help you prepare. Or if you're trying to memorize this on the fly, then this is one way to do it. But for me, who has been able to do all this, and like when I'm the one coming up with the process, it's a little bit easier for me. So I don't feel the need to do this for all of them, but it's an example to make the process easier for you to learn. And going second, we have 3 Engine coming out. So this is a matchup where non-Engine is important. So I minimize some of the Engine clunk. So I take out 1 trap, like I've said. I will take out 1 of the spell or traps. Generally, it's Rahu against the decks that play Herald. And then I take out Frixel, because going second, you're generally going to be going for the Bellion. Or you can go Albion off of like a Veiler if you need just a dead card to send. And also this works for like Albion Sanctifier as well. So this card isn't as required. You're not going to get into a grind game as often against that deck. You kind of just like need to survive. And having the non-engine is what gets you there. And yes, I think we have this second in 3 Engine, 2 Veiler, and the Cartesia comes out. And we have 3 Droll, and I put in 3 Pankratops. Because I just need to make sure that I have outs on my deck to Herald. So this was what I went with for the tournament. I think in hindsight, Phantasme maybe could have been Meowth, maybe a little bit more efficient. Because Phantasme doesn't stick through the Mitsurugi version, but we live, we learn. I think this card was okay, but Meowth I think is a little bit more efficient moving forward. So this one is like this. We have Engine. And that's so 3 Engine, 1 Spell Travel, 1 Frixel, 2 Veiler, and then 1 Cartesia. Next up is Mitsurugi. We have going first cards we take out. I take out Fua and Nib. Card is pretty easy to play around in general. And I take out 1 of the Veilers. Yes. Because this is like the easy cards to point out, right? So Veiler and Nib are obviously not great, right? And then we put in Cartesia and Prosperity, and then we look at what's left. So I think this Bell is pretty solid in the matchup. You can hit pre-prep, you can hit prayers, just in general a better card than what I view Veiler to be in the matchup. So this is a spot where maybe I could have been a little bit more specific in my siding, like, oh, maybe I wanted something else for like I could have put another Bestial in my side deck somewhere over like a Phantasme. But I view the matchup as something that I think I'm already pretty favored in, so it's not something I was like super concerned with for like perfecting this. Like if you wanted to go through it and make every single matchup ideal, it's probably not going to happen. So there are concessions that you have to make, and for me, I was like Mitsurugi, a matchup that I already think I'm pretty favored in. We've got Bells, we've got Drolls. So yeah, this is kind of how I went about it for that matchup. So first in, we have Droll, Cartesia, Prospel, and then out we have Fua, Veiler, Nib. And then second, we have cards that I would take out: Nib, Cartesia, 1 of the traps. So I think you could argue to leave Hornet if you're really concerned with Fossil Dyna. But with the number of non-engine that my deck plays, I'm not as concerned with it. I think Flame and Sing are just like the generic. If you get into like a normal game versus Mitsurugi, these are 2 traps you want in your deck. And then we take so Nib, Veiler, Or I'm so sorry, lost my track. So we're going second in the matchup. My apologies. So Nib, Cartesia, one trap and one of the spells. I generally take out Rahu. The exception would be against Pure Yummy. When decks play Purge, I think Ketu's a little bit worse. But in general, I take out Rahu compared to Ketu. Because both side rolls and a card you should be concerned with. So Nib, Cartesia, one trap, one spell, and then we put in 3 Droll and 3 Pankratops. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 Droll, 3 Pank. Did I? Oh, I don't take out Fua. I don't know what I'm thinking. So Fua is there to give us the opportunity to draw the non-engine. If they start Habakiri, then we get to draw cards. Fua may be a card that, like, if I have Meows, I may swap Meows for Fua. But I think you want to have Charmers in your deck just to minimize the opportunity for them to, not opportunity, but like disincentivize them from trying to go through the false final line. So that is why we left the Fuas in. And that deck also has consistency problems, so making sure we get to see our non-engine is important. And then last matchup is going to be Pure Yummy, which I have going first. I take out Fuas, and then I think Veiler's a card that performs rather poorly in the matchup. And for those, I put in these. So yeah, Crossout is in general a card that I think is primarily for mirror matches, but the Pure Yummy deck generally tries to hold their non-engine, specifically Ash and Bell, to hit your trap cards and just like play through the board. So I figured if I can just set Crossout, call Ash or Bell, resolve one of my traps in an important spot where they were kind of expecting it to go through, then I think that was more impactful than something like a Veiler, which in general wasn't super strong in the matchup for my testing. And we've got those and this. And last one we're going to be doing, so this is 7 cards in total. We're going second into Pure Yummy. We have all of these good cards and bells. And out we have 3 Phantasma, out we take out Veilers, take out a Ketu and a Rahu, 1 trap, which I think is still Horn, Cartesia, and Pixel. So for these, I just needed more on engine because Herald is really oppressive. They have a lot on an engine in their deck as well, so Pankratops and Phantasme help to try out the Herald. And then we also are more likely to see our good cards in deck when we Phantasme. We're less concerned with opening playable. And Nib's obviously good. All these cards are, I think, pretty normal. And Veiler's is a card that they can play around pretty consistently, so not a card that I valued in that matchup. So this is what it looks like. Ooh. That was strange. There we go. My bad for that. So this is what, like, if we're preparing for an event together, this is one of the things that we do when we're going through coaching. This is how I help my friends prepare for their events. We build the deck list first, and then we go from there, building the side deck. We can, if you're interested in me doing this live on a video, please let me know down in the comments below, and we can do that for maybe an event moving forward. So yeah, you build the deck going first, and then we look at what deck cards come out in the matchup, replacements, and then we're like, okay, now we go later into the deck building process. Are there some slots that we maybe want to swap in and out? But yeah, this is just kind of how you prepare for an event. You want to be efficient. Like, obviously, you can go in and not be as prepared as you'd like to. But this is how I think I have one of my edges when I prepare for events, because I'm very thorough. And I do all this beforehand, so I'm not fumbling when I sit down for my tournament. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, what you'd like to see next, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.